What's up, everybody? Welcome to Value Town. I'm ChanManV. Got three great guys here to discuss some cards and decks and meta and everything with you guys today. Leading us off, we've got the leader of Team Archon, Amaz. What's up, Amaz?
Yeah, doing good. Just finished streaming and excited to do the show, I guess.
Well, great to have you on, man. His teammate here, we've got reigning world champion or Blizzcon world champion. When's the last time you heard that, Firebat?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
I don't know, it comes up a lot for some reason.
Oh, well, that's good. That's definitely good. And lastly, we've got a member of the winning team from this past weekend's ATLC from Team Nylum, Thijs. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, doing good. Back in Europe now and getting back in the right time zone, but doing good.
That's good. Seems like everybody seems to be still in the Archon house, so I guess you're not in the Archon house now. That's good. Well, okay, guys. Well, I wanted to have you guys on again to talk some cards, but wanted to lead off with some ATLC or Archon Team League Championship talk. So yeah, it's a huge event that happened this past weekend. Amaz, you being the organizer, I mean, just like a huge undertaking, and it was a huge success in my eyes. So I kind of wanted to see what you thought of it, just being the kind of person that was behind everything.
Yeah, I hope it was a good success. That appeared that everybody was super organized. The matches were exciting. All the players were well taken care of. All the casters, were well taken care of and enjoyed the event too. So I would label it as a success, I guess. Overall, it went pretty well. I wish that RDU and Eloise could actually make the main event. That's like my first regret, I guess, because the dates were a little bit too early. So we will definitely try to fix that up for next time we do this. But yeah, overall it went really well. Production, there were some internet drops and whatnot, but overall it went really, really smoothly. The production value did shoot up quite a bit, and yeah, I think overall it was really, really good.
Well, I mean, it broke the record as the most viewed Hearthstone event to date, right? Beating the BlizzCon. So, I mean, that's fabulous.
Yeah, well, that just speaks to Hearthstone's growth, right?
Oh, what? Fire! Oh my God, that's great.
Nice. What did you
Yeah,
say?
that was weird.
But yeah, Hearthstone's just a growing game. Everybody's trying to catch up with it and whatnot. I think Blizzard announced there were 30 million users not too long ago, right? So yeah, obviously the viewers are just gonna improve, and I think that BlizzCon this year is gonna get even more viewers, right? Obviously. So yeah, I'm really excited about where this game is headed. It's headed in a good direction, and shows like Value Town, for example. Just helps the community out more. So I'm really glad you came back, Chan, man.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I'm definitely happy to be back and doing the show again. Firebat, Thijs, as players, having this team league available to you, I mean, the cash prize is huge too. What does this type of league mean to you guys?
Different sort of formats, different changes away from the normal is good, because it got pretty boring there for a little bit when everyone was just doing standard conquest for everything.
Yeah.
So just even a little bit of change was really good, and it's changed that actually has some meaning behind it, because it's changed it as a real prize pool at the end. A lot of the tournaments that tend to start doing any sort of change or whatever, their prize pool is really limited. It's just like a small little 8-man tournament usually, but this was like a main event. So that was really cool.
Thijs?
Yeah, and I really like the team perspective to have a team league where you play with teams together. It's a really unique thing. It also, you feel a bit more pressured probably. You don't want to lose for your teammates, and yeah, the format, I really loved it. Best of 11 as a team. There comes a lot of strategy behind, and yeah, it was exciting for me actually the whole 10 weeks that we played in it.
Yeah, for Nylum, I mean, how much did you guys get together and strategize? Because some teams like Value Town, I think it was more prevalent. People could were hearing more about just some of the strategy just because of Trump and Kibler talking about it and things. But we didn't hear as much from you guys, so I kind of want to get some just a little bit of insight as to how much you guys met up and really strategized.
We did a lot of calls online. I think we practiced we practiced a lot actually. Yeah, we were always testing stuff. We talked everything over. We decided what were the best decks to go with against this team, and then we decided how are we gonna switch that up over the 3 persons. And yeah, everyone was a bit going their own way, but it was always planned as a team to make sure that we have a good lineup for the next week. And yeah, sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't really work out, and at the end we made a long run, but at the end it really paid off. So yeah, it feels good.
Well, yeah, definitely. And you winning, actually, you were a little emotional at the end too, which was, as a viewer and as a fan, it's really cool to see that, and that's kind of what I want to see at events. And so, talk to me a little bit about that. Why'd you get all choked up?
Yeah, it was probably. To be honest, at that moment, I didn't like. It starts really slowly for me now to realize actually that what happened, and now I'm home. It really I'm starting to realize it a bit more, but. There it was just, it was a bit of an unbelievable feeling, maybe because the last day we played 11 hours in a row, and it was such a rush, and I never had long breaks, and we were just going. It was like a train going, and we were not stopping. And then at the end, after so much work, just after 10 weeks, and then just doing it where you worked for 10 weeks, it was. It felt a bit emotional, at the end. So I think that's only cool. So
yeah, definitely, rightfully so, man. That's definitely good. So Amaz, you mentioned that the next season's going to start in January, like in just the finale of the whole event. So I mean, it's something definitely we have to look forward to. But planning wise, it's like I know kind of what it's like to plan events. How did you actually arrange that already? Is it just something that you were just committed to doing before, trying to figure out the money side of things? Because I know this one, you invested a lot of money into this one personally. So was it just really committing to having that date more so than having everything prepared already?
Tentatively January.
Tentatively January. All right.
I think it's like last time when we were on the planning stages of the ATLC, some people spoiled it.
Oh, right.
It. And then we got some unneeded stress with sponsors and whatnot. So I think it's better for me to just spoil it myself and change the day later on. And that's just a bit better. Because, the money part of the first league was, it was quite something. But then it's interesting because when we were planning this league, I actually noted that there wasn't anything going on between, what was May, right? Or June, something like that, to BlizzCon, right? There was just like a gap of nothing's happening.
Right.
So I was like, okay, we gotta do something. And at that same time, there were leagues going on as well. Am I DC'd?
No, I can hear you.
I think I am DC'd.
I think you're not, but
no. Whoa.
Now you are.
Now they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they both are.
Yeah, now they both came back on. Okay.
Okay, that was
something weird happened with the Archon internet.
That's okay.
Yeah, but hopefully we're back. Okay, I'm just gonna continue.
Yeah, continue. It's cool.
Yeah. At that time, there were about 5 leagues that were announced. Like there are so many leagues that everybody's going for, and
right.
There's not like that one big one that everybody needs to watch and whatnot. So attaching like a big prize pool, obviously, gets it out there or something, and of course the cool format that not all the leagues are doing. Everything kind of helped out. And on that kind of topic, I'm actually really happy that Nihilum won, because they're kind of one of the teams that discuss about strategy, do the teamwork thing, compared to some other teams where they're mainly just strong individual players, maybe. The other team that I think had a very good team synergy was Value Town, just like the show. Trump, Tripler, and Dog. They did pretty well. They got 3rd, which is quite a good finish. I think they should have gone a little bit further, but really enjoyed the team dynamic of the whole league.
You thought they should have gotten a little further. What does that mean?
But then I guess Svevko, Kalento, and Ekop, that's a very, very good team.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think when we talked in the end, when Nihilum beat Cloud9, I was talking to Strifeco and whatnot, and it ended up that they only changed one card in the whole 6X, right? They just changed Freezing Trap into Snake Trap, and Nihilum kind of outplayed them in the deck selection, and even during the games, some people were making some mistakes, and maybe that was due to them not playing any games during that day and only have the last series to play. so they were kind of like just doing nothing until then.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like having the momentum thing. But yeah, just gonna change things up hopefully. The only problem was that second day the internet went down, so the third day was kind of longer. It was supposed to be like just normal. So yeah, maybe next time we'll have like 2 ISPs and just a little bit of an extra backup.
Yeah, I don't think people understand like what it's like to have to set up an event like that, you know, at the house too. You know, everybody just has this normal internet set up, but whenever you have you need some serious bandwidth to be able to pull off what you guys did. And you know, what you guys did was essentially similar to the Team Story Cups, you know, and the you know, buy game house and all that kind of thing. So that was really, really cool. That feel was totally there, and you guys even had your own flavor, which was awesome. I guess just the last few questions. I guess what are there any things that you want to change, like just off the top of your head, like right now, that from the standpoint of format or any big things structurally to the tournament?
Right. I think the best of 11 team conquest format is very close to being, you know, optimal. I did a little bit of testing before the league started, and that's why I put the bench rule in, because like, you know, otherwise somebody can just like send the same person 6 times and they lose, and then the other guys can't even play, right? So there was a little bit of testing. I think overall it's okay. It might be very confusing to the viewers to see like what's happening during the phase 1 and phase 2, like, and why that matter. So we're gonna improve on the visuals or like the brackets, communicate a bit more of like what's actually happening in the point system, because players obviously understand it, but then it's for the viewers and like, especially the people that are not in the Hearthstone scene, right? It's like extra bare. They need to like actually know what's happening in a Hearthstone game and know what the bracket is. So that can be improved. But yeah, that's really the top 2 out of my head. The other one was we actually wanted to do a open qualifier for the first one.
Oh wow! Okay.
But then we scrapped that because, you know, like open qualifiers. Okay, so if every team is gonna join the open qualifier, it's gonna be huge. And it's extra manpower on our part. And then if we don't let it be open and we just choose like 4 teams to be the open qualifier, then people are gonna complain that it's not actually an open qualifier. And then it ended up being too much work. So then maybe next season, you know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You have at least you want to have an open element to it. Is it gonna be the same number of teams?
Everything is down to change.
Yeah.
But
okay. Cool.
The Hillam, you know, at least, or life coach Thijs and RDU, they're invited, obviously.
Yeah.
If they do like an all open kind of qualifier thing, like 12 teams, for example, seeding to 8, then even Cloud9 will have to play in that bracket, because I mean, well, they did it with the whole thing, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Have to do that.
So perks of being the champ, Thijs. That's nice.
Right, Firebat? Perks of being champion.
No, you don't get any perks of being champion for the BlizzCon. You're just like, have fun qualifying again, buddy.
Yeah, they should have invited you directly. I think that would have been, you know.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah.
It makes a better story when I qualify back.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, speaking of storylines, I think the ATLC did they made a lot of storylines, right? Dog being always unlucky. Life coach, you know, in the redemption, he was like, what? He lost 5 games or something like that.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Really
my favorite thing that came out of storyline related stuff is all the gifs about life coach's face.
I mean, come on, dude. That was classic, right?
That was the best.
I've never seen such intense looks like from a player consistently throughout an entire event.
We didn't see a 6-0 ever in the tournament, which is kind of surprising. I expected at least to be like that, but we did see a triple bench from Temple Storm, so that was good too. I love it when people get benched, you know. In the ATLC, I was like, you know,
you were always happy when somebody was so down after losing 2 games. You were the only happy person.
Oh man, I love when people get benched. That's just hilarious. Dude.
Well, the cameraman was ready to go. I mean, you were always there next to the bench with like, you know, whatever sign you had there. But yeah, the cameraman was always really, really great to follow the players. It was like the walk of shame, basically walking down the stairs to the bench. But yeah, anyways, I just want to congratulate you on a successful league. It's it's really, really hard to pull off something, you know, that big and just from the scope of things, right? And you know, you were the guy behind it also, Amaz. So anyways, congratulations. And Thijs, of course, congratulations to you for being part of the winning team. So next topic I want to talk about is Blizzcon Qualifiers. You kind of mentioned it. That's kind of like in full swing right now. It actually started like a week ago or so, but you know, ATL kind of took a lot of the ATLC took a lot of the attention away from it. But now it's kind of the main thing going on now, and we're kind of refocusing on the BlizzCon World Championships now. But my first question to you guys is, do you think that this year there's been less attention on just what's supposed to be the main storyline for the Hearthstone community? Anybody jump in?
I think it's about the same as what it was like last year at this point. Like, it doesn't really get like all the full swing and attention until we actually start seeing like the decider matches of who's actually going to the regionals, because we're at the qualifiers to regionals right now.
Right.
So like we're at just the very beginning of the road. So it's just done the latter portion, and now people have to qualify to regionals, then they have to play regionals to then qualify for BlizzCon. So there's still a lot of steps ahead and a lot of room for a following and a story to really be built.
Yeah. I mean, I'm comparing to last year when people had to fight through the 7 rounds or something like that. Like, people had to go like 5-0, 6-1, or 7-2 in effectively a triple elimination bracket, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, there wasn't a lot of things that were, legally announced or like promoted or anything. So it's perfectly fine. And the thing is, like, it's really hard to promote like 160 players right now.
Yeah.
It's like 4 regions of like 40 people each. That's like really difficult to do. So when it comes down to like 8 players in each region after the best the round of 40, Blizzard will do something, and I think it's gonna be hype. It's just like the build up, right?
Yeah,
I think they're doing a good job right now, though. Like, even just they're showing like almost every match in the 40 round qualifier. Like, they're really giving like the spotlight to the people that have made it to just this far. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of it. In fact, you guys are going to be playing today.
Yeah.
And it's going to be aired too, of course, right? Like, let me show you the brackets really quickly here. You can see the brackets here. And who you guys playing? I know, Amaz, you're playing Hot Form, right? I think I saw that.
Yeah, I'm playing VLPS.
Oh, VLPS, okay. Yeah, so a lot of big names still in this tournament, and there's this is just the winners bracket, right? And then or the upper bracket, and then there's the lower bracket down here too.
I think all 8 matches today are going to be the upper bracket.
Oh, they're gonna be streamed today?
Yeah, all 8 brackets, all winners are going to be there. I think they're going to go live in like an hour and a half or something like that. And of course, they're like rotating around community channels for this one, so I'm not really sure which is exactly the next one. But you can just catch it on watch go on Twitch. It's probably the first or the second most highest viewers watch, so you can check it out there.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be the most popular stream, I'm sure, for Hearthstone. But it's cool that they're spreading it out, like different streams each time. That's really cool, and different casters too each time. So, which is nice, and that's good for the community or Blizzard to really be supporting the community that way.
Yeah, I mean, esports is kind of new for Blizzard, right?
Not really, right? StarCraft, it's been around forever.
Right. But the Hearthstone, the direction was more of like casual, laid back, down on your phone and play it. So it's good to see them. They're like incorporating these gradually. So it's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck to you guys today. Hopefully, you guys we'll see you in. I think once you get past all of this, right? Then you guys go to San Francisco, probably to the studio, right, and shoot something like that, right? There's actually even cash prize at that point, right? Like, you're guaranteed something at that point.
If you win there, you're guaranteed to be top 16 at BlizzCon, so you're guaranteed like $5,000, I think.
Right, just making it to the next stage, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, winning out at San Francisco.
Oh, winning out. So you have to win at San Francisco to be guaranteed something.
Otherwise you're not getting any money.
Oh,
at least that's how it worked last year.
I think you do.
No, I think you do.
For the EU regionals, you get already if you make top 8. Top 8 will be played in Prague, and then if you get already top 8, you at least have something already, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, last year you didn't get anything unless you're actually going to BlizzCon.
I know, that was pretty rough. There's only, how many of you guys? 4 of you guys that went to BlizzCon?
Yeah.
That's
4.
Yeah, that was pretty rough. Thijs, when is your qualifier?
It is all gonna be decided this weekend. It starts tomorrow, Friday, and at Sunday we know the 8 people that are gonna go to Prague, and they in AU they are gonna do it all spread over these 3 days. And I had to play in the top 40, and I won my 2 games, so I'm in the top 60 now, and now I have to play against 6-0 that already was in that spot. So that's tomorrow.
Wow, we're playing 6-0. That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to card talk. I know a lot of you guys watching Valley Town always are looking forward to this segment of the show. And we're going to start off with that same segment that we had last week, which was golden, good, or gimmick. Actually, I added the good part because one of the fans suggested it in the YouTube comments, and it's actually a good idea. So we actually have an added label that we can have for the cards, which is good, which is kind of in between golden and gimmick. Golden being a great card that you think will stick around a while, and gimmick being just a faddish card, or a card that's going to be gone very, very quickly here. And what we do is we go through just a few cards that I've picked out and have the three guys kind of discuss them or give us their classifications and hopefully debate them a little bit if I picked some good cards here. But I'm going to start with you, Amaz. And our first card we're going to talk about is Frost Giant. I want to get your thoughts on this. Golden, good, or gimmick? Okay,
so when I first looked at the card, I thought it was just pretty bad because you have to wrap up how many hero powers for it to be playable. You compare it to Mountain Giant and Handlock, you compare it to the other giants like Sea Giant, right? Doesn't seem to fit a lot because using a hero power is at least before GTT, right? Using a hero power is a bad thing because you missed a drop or something. It's like a compensation for your 2 mana, if anything. So it's really hard to purposely compensate your turn and not play any cards and then wrap this up, right? So I thought it was pretty bad. And when it released, it's to be expected. Nobody really played this Frost Giant. Some people think that it's good in Handlock, but then you realize that you can just play Mountain Giant instead, and you only tap God knows how many times. The other deck that people are thinking about putting in is the Duplicates Mage, where they usually just echo their giants a lot, and then play a lot of Sun Furies and echo them again, do it again. But in that thing is. Well, you kind of still want to establish cards like Mad Scientists and Belchers, and even Player Secrets if you draw them, right? So it seems like it's really, really difficult to play this correctly. So I would say that this is a gimmick card.
Yeah, I think the card's pretty good.
All right. I
mean, if you're playing Echo Mage, you can get its cost reduced down without having to rely on your health total, and then you can just echo it infinite amount of times and continue replaying it in the same turns. So you can do big double echo setup turns. Not that Echo Mage is the greatest of decks, but it totally makes that archetype of deck much more viable. You actually have persistent threats throughout the game that don't rely on your opponent attacking you, so you can get your Moltons down. So you can actually have some control over the game a little bit if it goes control on control.
Yeah, I still think Moltons always make a bigger swing. Even in Handlock in the Echo deck, the Moltons can just swing the game totally around. And the Frost Giant, it takes a lot of time before you can play them. I can see it being good in slow decks, but sometimes they just feel really too slow. I don't think you can ever play I think you will always play one. I don't think you can play 2 of them. Or how do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a one of. But one of is much better than gimmick. One of is good.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not really sure. It's one of these cards where it double dips, right? It's better to run 2 in my opinion, because where you run 2, you can actually play 2 Frost Giants in one turn. I kind of compare it to the what's that called? The
Sea Giant or no?
No, the Druid card. That's the 9 mana.
the
fire train,
Yeah.
That
Avian.
whenever a minion dies that turn, it costs 1 less, right? So in Thijs' deck, you play 2 of them because you Poison Seas, Starfall, and everything dies, and you can slam 2 of them, right? There's a lot of cards that kind of get better when you run multiple copies of that. I guess the best example of cards that aren't good like that is Shadow Word Death in Arena, because you pick the first one is really good, and then the more you pick, the worse it becomes, right? But Frost Giant and Volcanic Drakes and stuff like that, it's better the more you pick it.
Yeah, but how many matchups is the card actually good in is what you got to consider as well. Because it's a greedy card that's going to be pretty useless in a lot of matchups, but the matchups it's good in, it's really good in. So that's why I think you can justify doing it as a one of, because against aggro, you're never going to be able to play that at all. It's just going to kill you. Then against heavy control that tries to control your life total so you can't do the Molten Swings with the Frost Giants Mage, then you're going to be able to use it very effectively. But ladder's just pure cancer.
yeah, that's very, very true. So what classes make the most sense? Obviously you mentioned Mage, right? Are there any, and possibly Warlock, any other classes make any sense? Or hero power enough for this thing
priests.
Yeah,
priests can do it sometimes with super control priests with healings and light bombs and stuff. I ran a Frost Giants priest for a while and got like top 100 legend with it.
Wow.
But
Okay.
Was there
We're
only
in-
100 legends that time?
no, it was at the end of last season. I
Okay.
was just kind
okay.
of chilling around with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it ran double Frost Giant too, but like, just like light bombs and things to clear, and then you just hero power a lot, and then like Justicar. So a lot of the game was just like Justicar, heal myself a lot, kill your board, keep healing myself, and
Sure.
two Frost
That's,
Giants.
that's the best way to use Justicar.
If anything, yeah, Frost Giant decks will run two. I don't think
Yeah.
one Frost Giant makes a lot of sense. It's like deviating from the game plan, yeah.
Okay, so Amaz, Gimmick, Firebat, golden or good?
Just good, just
Good?
not golden.
Yeah, okay,
Definitely
good.
not golden.
Good and Thijs?
I think he's Gimmick. He might
Gimmick,
be okay,
okay.
in some situations, but Gimmick overall.
Okay. Next card we're going to talk about, and since we have our resident druid expert here, Thijs, I'm going to have you lead this off. So Mulch.
Mulch.
Yeah.
That was the card I was so exciting about when he came out. I thought like, oh yeah, there's the removal for the druid, and I have to say I tried him a bit, not enough to really say how good he is, but if there was not a death rattle meta, but every minion has like a death rattle, this card will be really good. But I found it really hard to put him off in some situations. I look at him. I look at it like set. That's like kind of what he does by giving your opponent a card, and normally you give an opponent a card that is kind of a bit more expensive than cards should normally be. I can see him being okay to good, but he's just not worth it for me yet to play in the Druid. If I could put in some more of the cards in a Druid deck, I would probably try it out, one of it. But yeah, I just cannot really find a spot for him really in the Druid deck, just because the meta is not made for it with a lot of Death Rattle kind of minions.
Yeah, I mean, in Hearthstone, like, it's really bad for you to ever play a minion that has no effect on the board immediately or effect when it dies, because it's so vulnerable to these hard removals. Like, that's why Assassinate, for example, is like a terrible card, because it would be great if everyone's playing Boulder Fist Ogre, but nobody's playing any vanilla drops that don't either have a Death Rattle or a Battle Cry, which then makes sapping it. They've already gained something out of it when you go to mulch it.
Yeah. And sometimes, like Mulch, when all the Death Rattle business is really awkward, right? But even when you're facing not Death Rattle minions, like for example, Emperor, right? If your Druid plays Emperor and you mulch it, then your opponent doesn't. It maybe get it like a small drop instead, and they can actually have more options. Whereas if you sap an Emperor, they maybe cannot play the Emperor again because they need to deal with your board immediately, right? So sometimes a random card is better than the card that gets returned to their hand. So it's really awkward.
There is one matchup where it is really good, and that is against Handlock, for example. I tried it once, and I had it against Handlock, and I just killed a giant. I gave him a crappy card, and he discarded a card. So, but yeah, it's just also a lot of times BGH is more than fine in Druid. It's the targets that you, except from Emperor, the targets that you wanna just destroy get already destroyed by BGH a lot of times, and then you have at least a 4/2 body. This card doesn't have a 4/2 body, and it even gives your opponent a card. So if your opponent doesn't draw that much, a lot of cases the BGH is better.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so triple Gimmick here for Mulch.
Yeah.
All right, next up we got... I know, right? Okay, next up we got Lock and Load. And Firebat, I'm going to have you lead off here. Trump actually mentioned, I think last week, that he was surprised that no Lock and Load decks have really become viable quite yet. What do you think of this card?
Well, if it was good, then there'd have to be a deck around it already created, because literally everyone in Hearthstone, as soon as that card came out, was trying to make a deck viable with that.
Yeah.
And there is still no deck viable that's a Lock and Load hunter. So I'm gonna have to say, just based on that alone, like without even going into the card too much, just the amount of people I know trying it and nobody having success with it, it has to be Gimmick.
At least for now, right? I think maybe in the future if they added more spells, but...
Maybe.
I don't know. The Hunter's game plan right now is to play a card that's either a minion or like play a card that's direct damage after, like late game or something like that, right? You never put it to late game. Like mid game, you want to kill your opponent. And Lock and Load is kind of comparable to like Arcane Elect, where you're just drawing cards, right? It doesn't matter where it's from. It's just you're drawing cards. So why do you want to draw cards as a hunter when you can play a minion with charge, or weapons that go face? It doesn't make sense. I think it's never going to be played, even if there's something insane. For example, like, there's a zero mana spell that deals 3 damage to the face, or something ridiculous like that, right? Why would you still play this card? You would just play 2 of those and just play everything else. This is also one of the cards that is funny because it's better as a double, right? Like if you're never gonna play 1 lock and load. You're gonna play 2 because if you double lock, you get like double dip, right? So it's always the double dip value that you're looking for. But yeah, this card is just really bad.
Yeah.
I have seen some like fun decks with like King's Elec, Malagos,
Right.
and Emperor, and those are the only minions you run, and everything else is lock and load and spells. So then you can King's Elec into the Emperor, and then King's Elec into the Malagos.
It's like an Ancestor's Call type of
Yeah.
deck, yeah. Thijs?
Yeah, I think just the issue is that it doesn't fit in the Hunter. I think if this card will be in like a Rogue, it will be so broken. It's just not a card that fits Hunter in any way. I think in a lot of classes this card will be playable, but in Hunter it just totally goes against their strategy. I don't see it really working.
Yeah, the hero power kind of dictates the Hunter so much, and it's like you almost have to play defensive spells with this for it to actually, like the Hunter's Marks and things like that, right? So okay, lock and load. Looks like another triple gimmick there. Next up, we got Justicar, Amaz. This card, we've been seeing some, just more in the control kind of decks, but what's your thoughts?
When Justicar first came out, I was really excited about it because, it's something that modifies the game completely, right? If you play this card, your game plan kind of shifts to where you want to use your hero power a lot, right? For example, like if you're playing Warrior, you would play this, and you have to at least click your hero power 3 times for it to be better than the Shield Maiden, right? Because their stats are pretty much comparable. A lot of people think that 3 health is really abysmal, but it's at times abysmal. It actually drop on and whatnot, but I still think it's like really it's like a bonus thing, right? It's more like a 6 mana change your hero power. Oh, by the way, here's a minion as well, right? So I think it's really good in specific decks. There are some decks that this is not good in, like for example Hunter, where it doesn't even get a double effect. Druid, for example, you don't really want a hero power anyways. But then there are some decks that the improved hero power could make a big deal, like for example Priest, Warrior. I actually think the Shaman was good at first because like multiple spell power totems, but then you just actually don't get any. You can just like RNG and get a spell power totem anyways, right? So Priest, Warrior, and I think Paladin.
Yeah.
Also the last one that's really, really good. 2/1/1s is actually pretty threatening.
Yeah, the Shaman 2 totems actually I think would have been better in the end if you could just get 2 of them.
Yeah, maybe, but then if you have 3 totems, you actually can't press your hero power.
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
It's
becomes weird. Yeah, obviously a weird scenario like that would occur.
Shaman hero power is always the weirdest one. But, I think this card is good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good with the Priest and the Warrior hero powers that already do too. Like upping those up to 4, just being able to live forever is like really, really good. Just outlast your opponent, play the value game that you're trying to play anyway, and then with Priest you can combine it with things like Alchemy, start pinging things off for lots of damage, and Warrior can combine that with Shield Slam. But just the hero powers that already influence for 2 and then getting upgraded influence for 4 is way better than the upgrades on the other ones because they just start out better. Like 2 is bigger than 1, and then 2 doubled is better than the improvements on 1. It's just as simple as that.
Firebat breaking out of Moz math there.
It's important to state these things out. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes 1 is less than 2, and sometimes 1 equals 3, for example.
Right. Thijs?
Yeah, I like this card. It really improves the more control-based classes and the control-based decks, and it is sometimes considered being a bit slow, and that is kind of true, but if you just play in Justicar, you can already cut like 1 or 2 big drops because it makes the game so much slower. So I really like this card. I hope if the meta will ever go a bit slower than as it is now, this card will be maybe we will even see it in it will be more popular in Paladins or in Shamans, and I like this card. I hope it's probably a card that people will always consider putting in or putting out of their control decks.
Yeah, I mean, I think this card's pretty cool too. The designers, this like you guys said, right? It seems to only be viable for certain classes. I wonder if they'll be able to tweak it a little bit so that it's actually viable in all classes.
I can see it being viable in Drew too. I mean, getting in hero power for 2, armoring up for 2, it is because you upgrade both of your things. It can be okay for Drew too. It's pretty close maybe, but yeah, it just doesn't maybe fit the strategy of the mid range. But maybe in a Ren Drew deck it might fit really well. It's just a bit slow now.
Yeah.
I think it's okay for cards to not work in every single deck, right? You know, things that like very obvious. You know, like this one, for example, like Warlocks kind of get got
Giants.
the worst thing. Because like, why do you want to like not hurt yourself? You want to right? But then like stuff like Mountain Giant, for example, like you know, those are inherently just better for some classes.
Yeah.
You can also go like Silverhand Region, right? Where you know the 1/1 is obviously better for the Paladin for a flood deck and whatnot. I think these cards are fine because in Arena it actually makes it more interesting to go like, okay, I'm playing something that this is bad in a Shaman, for example, right? And this comes up versus something else, and that becomes interesting. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. I think cards don't need to be like super good. Like neutral cards don't need to be super good. But Patron, I wish it was more viable in more classes than just like Warrior and maybe like the Mage Ping in Arena.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, triple good here. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's only viable in like I'd say 2 classes right now, so I wouldn't give it golden. So I'd just settle with good.
Okay. All right, let's move on to. Let's see what do we have here. Okay, Garrison Commander. Thijs, we'll have you start off here. So Garrison Commander is kind of one of those cards that allows you to cast your hero power twice, right, in a turn. And when we first were taking a look at the cards for the first time, like Amaz, you kind of showing it off, right, at the preview and things. Everybody had these great thoughts about, just hero powers, right, all these changes to hero powers, but we haven't really seen much of it. What are your thoughts on this card, Thijs?
Yeah, when I saw this card coming out, I was kind of a bit hyped because it really looked like they want to do something big with the Inspire. The Inspire thing. If you can combine it with a really good Inspire card, this card has the potential to be broken because it has 2 mana, 2/3 stats. It's not bad at all. But the problem at the moment is that the Inspire effect is really hard to put out of early, and there are not really much cards that abuse it. And there is the one card that we have now, I forgot the name, but the 3 mana 2/2 where you can just save your hero power a turn.
Fencing Coach?
Yeah,
Fencing
Fencing
Coach.
Coach. And together with that card, it has the potential to be strong, but then still the problem is you need a good Inspire card that is just totally winning you the matchup at some point. If you play it and you hero power twice, that is the card and it wins you. And at the moment, I don't really feel that the Inspire cards are, besides being really good value, they are not insanely winning you the game. And I think that is the problem at the moment with this card, the Garrison Commander, but also with the Fencing Coach.
Yeah, there are a few solid Inspire cards though, with like Murloc, Knight's Insane, and like
Confessor.
the Priest Legendary. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this card being played in some funny Inspire Paladin decks. I think it has a place there. It has some more good combos just with a Quadomaster, for example. Getting 3 dudes for 2. It's
I mean, with Justicar and Paladin, it can pull off some pretty sweet stuff too.
You can play like Muckless Champion, things like that, and buff them all.
It's generally just like too slow because it's like I could play all of these minions to make this Inspire card work, or I could just play a solid minion and just throw a Piloted Shredder out there.
Yeah, that is just the biggest problem at the moment. There's no card that abuses it really hard.
Yeah, I've seen Garrison Commander used though for the non-combo sort of things. It's just thrown in over Armorsmith in Control Warrior before, which didn't seem terrible. Some guy got pretty high on the ladder with that because you get the armor effects instantly without having to like hit your Armorsmith, so that you can just shield slam easily. But yeah, that sort of fell out of popularity. But it was an idea somebody had.
Still works with Warsong too.
Works with Warsong.
Oh,
Well, not quite as well as Armorsmith, of course, but
Yeah, it was in like a Control Warrior that doesn't have the whirlwinds and stuff.
right. Amaz, what do you think?
Oh, I think this card is just bad. Because like for it to, if you want to use it immediately after you play it, it's probably more of a 4 mana 2/3 that activates your Inspire minions, right? If you want to drop it down, it doesn't have the threat that a 2-drop might, give you. For example, like Mad Scientist, Knife Juggler, Haunted Creeper, those cards are kind of compared to this one. So I think it's just bad in Constructed. In Arena, it might be pretty good, right? If you're top decking cards where, arenas sometimes get to that point. 2 hero powers might actually make the difference, summon 2/1/1, summon 2 totems, ping 2 times, and stuff like that. It could work out in Arena. And the stat line is also, you're not like giving a penalty for it, right? For example, like Python Summoner, you're actually having a penalty for that effect. And this is just like, the stat line is right. But I can't see this using in Constructed.
Okay, let's move on to a Hunter card here. Hunter Legendary, Firebat. Acid Maw.
Oh,
So this card actually, when you get it, sometimes it says like unexpectedly, it sets up some funny situations, but planned, constructed decks. Is there anything here for this card?
I don't think so. I think it's too slow. 7 mana, right? 7 mana, 4/2. It's like, come on, man. It's so expensive, and for what it does, you have to be behind as a hunter on 10 mana, and if you're behind as a hunter on 10 mana, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to be hitting him in the face and killing him at that point. That's how your deck works. I don't think there's enough cards that support what this card's trying to do. It's one of those kind of like lock and load situations where it's like, maybe in the future if there's more things supporting that style of hunter game plan, but right now there's just not enough support that goes with what this card tries to accomplish, which is recovering board states at 10 mana with hunter.
Unheard of from Hunter, right?
just not a hunter card.
Yeah, but you can get it off. What's that card? The 5 mana 3/3 summon a random beast.
Yeah, the Ram Wrangler.
You play Ram Wrangler when you're ahead, right? And you're like, wow, this is great. I'm ahead. I'm winning. Setting up lethal here, whatever. Then you get that out of it, and then they swipe your board or whatever, and everything's dead.
Yeah.
That sums it up. Amaz, same sentiments.
Yeah, pretty much. You're only going to see this in Constructed play off Web Spinner. I mean, that's the only way that this
And
is.
Ram Wrangler.
And
Yeah.
Wrangler, yeah.
And I guess the dream situation would be like you get it off Web Spinner, your opponent plays like, I don't know, like a big creature, like a Chill Maw or something, and then you can like play this trade, and then I guess that does work. Maybe like Dr. Broom or something. That's like the extent to it. You're not going to put this in your deck.
Yeah.
You're not going to play from behind. Hunters want to kill your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
If this worked on the face, then I guess Hunters
Yes.
That'd be a little bit too powerful. Very, very powerful. Thijs.
Yeah, it's
Same.
as I already said, it just totally doesn't fit the hunter general strategy. I would like to have a card being this viable, and maybe in the future these slower cards, these control cards, might fit in the hunter deck. But at the end, there's still that hero power. There are still these aggressive cards in the hunter deck also. It's kind of funny if you get it off from Wrangler with an Unleash. That makes the combo a bit cheaper on 8 mana. But yeah. Otherwise, I cannot really see it being good enough for Constructed at all.
And it kind of sums up the Hunter's new cards. They don't seem to quite match up with the current strategy for Hunters.
Hunter has another plan. They like.
Yeah, I think they're like slowly trying to develop up some type of plan for Hunter.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
This Hunter Legendary is kind of like a bonus one, right? Every class got 1 Legendary in TET, and Hunter got 2 because of like the
Dread Scale.
Dread Scale kind of theme, right? So it's okay for that one to be bad.
That's the dream legendary, right? Getting both of those, and then Dread Scale just clears the board.
No, Asimov takes 1 damage. It's not even that.
Yeah, but it doesn't die at least, dude. Okay, last one we have is Shaman Legendary, which the Mistcaller, a lot of people thought was going to be crazy value just because it gives you +1/+1 to everything that hasn't been played yet, but haven't seen it much. Amaz, what do you think?
Oh, I think this was really cool when I first saw it, because they're actually interacting with cards that are in their hand, they're entering the cards in the deck and whatnot. But then I thought it was gonna be really bad because 6 mana you need to play a 4/4, and this need to at least activate 3 times for it to be kind of better than Bodafist Ogre, for example, right? And then you go okay, so my Fire Elementals can be BGH now. Why do I want +1/+1 so badly on my minions? You get what I mean? Belcher becomes a 4/6, but the slime doesn't even get buffed. Your totems that your hero power summons doesn't even get buffed. So I don't know. I think it's just pretty bad. I tried it a lot when it first came out, like the Shaman Totem deck. Everybody was trying that out. You're throwing this in, and it's like, not really that good. The +1/+1 is not really that relevant.
Thijs?
Yeah, I don't want to say this card is really that bad already. I think when I first saw this card, I thought it will actually be one of the better side of the expansion. Of course, then I realized after a week the ladder goes back to what it was. Nobody's playing these new cards and everything goes so much more aggressive again. But I would love to see this card being a bit more played. It has for sure potential, but yeah, people are not really trying out the more slower Shaman decks at the moment. I still think it has some potential, especially with the new card, with the healing wave, together with that, for example. If you make like a really slow Shaman deck, it might work in some way. It's a hard card to make a deck around. If you play this card, you want to probably make your deck around it a bit too, but I still see some potential. I don't want to just throw it away and say this card is bad. I see some potential still, but yeah, not sure yet how you have to make the deck around it.
Yeah, you lose a lot of tempo when you actually play the card, so that makes making a tempo sort of plan with lots of minions pretty hard. So then you got to try and make like a control deck that can recover that tempo, which then uses a bunch of removal spells. So the amount of value you're getting off that card's reduced because you're playing more spells now. And then at the same time, when you're playing a lot of removal and you're playing a control deck, you're playing big minions anyway. So then why do you need to give your big minions +1/+1? Like Dr. Boom with +1/+1 is still Dr. Boom. Like it doesn't help it as much as like it just feels like it's in an awkward spot where you want to put it in a tempo deck that has lots of mid-range minions that you can tempo out with, and the +1/+1's actually relevant. But you have to put it in a control deck because of the tempo loss you get when you play it. And then Ragnaros as a 9/9 isn't good. So like it doesn't really help your big bombs accomplish anything more than just the big bomb's going to accomplish on its own.
Right.
This really should have just buffed hero power, to be honest. I think it's fine to have like a strong card for Shaman. It's fine. The only...
buff. Oh, you
Wait,
mean
what's-
make all the totems 1/1 or
Yeah.
+1/+1?
Well,
Oh, okay.
+1/+1.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to have strong cards. I mean, like if you look back, all these strong legendaries are from the classic set, right? You got Sylvanas, you got your Ragnaros,
Yeah.
you got Tyrians and Alakirs. You know, those are the strong cards. I guess they're really afraid of making like a new set, like a very, very strong card or something like that. Because then, you know, you have power creep thing. You know, every set is just going to be stronger than the last, and people are going to go like, oh, I have to get the set to stay relevant or whatnot. But still, this card is just like not good. So
I don't know. They have like so many unique legendaries and unique cards with this set, and I feel like it's kind of something like the dragon thing where they released all the dragons originally, and then the dragons were all like everyone tried them out and they were like, wow, this sucks. And then this set comes out now with just that the title guardian or whatever it is, Twilight Guardian.
Twilight Guardian, yeah.
And starts bringing the dragons together, and there's the new dragon legendaries now. Dragons are actually good now. They're playable. So like maybe in the future the next set's going to incorporate some of these weird unique legendaries that no one can figure out where they're supposed to be put yet, and then the next set comes out and bam, they all suddenly have a place to go.
It's still pretty weird. Everyone was so hyped about Shaman. Everyone thought like, oh, Shaman is going to be one of the better classes now. They get the Tuskar, they have this card, they have even the cheap the 3/4 golem totem, and it was like the Shaman has to be strong now. And at the end, it still seems like one of the weaker classes. It's pretty weird.
yeah, when you compare it to other classes which already do this, like Totem Golem, I think when I reviewed it, I thought it was like one of the most overhyped card ever. It's like
Yeah.
you're just playing one turn earlier. Like Druids already do that with Innervate, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's generally, I think, the issue with Shaman, right? The overload. I think the overload mechanic, which is supposed to give them a lead, right, by being able to play it early, doesn't seem to work out that way. Just because removal cards are so cheap in all the other classes that.
Well, more like Overload cards are budgeted too high. You know, like the Overload is they feel like you're jumping the curve, right? So it should be a little bit weaker. So for example, like Lava Burst, this is the prime example, right? 3 + 2 is 5 and deals 5 damage compared to like other stuff like Fireball, obviously. They really overvalue Overload, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. All right. So 2 gimmicks, and I guess Thijs in between a gold gimmick or good gimmick type of.
Yeah,
thing?
at the moment he is probably Gimmick, but I can see him being good really fast too. If somebody just tries him out and finds a really good list around it, it might be good to be playable, but yeah, at the moment he's just not strong enough. It's just not good in this meta against all the aggro. A lot of combo decks being played. This card is just not working against that.
Okay.